from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News Telecast. I'm Mugin Hettiarachchi.
A very good evening to you. I'm Sharifa Tahir. And first off, we take a look at the headlines.
Issuing passports online starts. Grade 5 scholarship examination will be held on the 15th of October. Applications are called from today to the 6th of next month. 2 petitions against telecom privatization dismissed. A 50-kilogram pack of urea fertilizer is sold at 9,000 rupees from today. A 3-year plan to implement STEAM education in schools. 79 killed in a vessel capsized in southern sea of Greece.
Now on to those and more stories in detail. On today's top story, President Ranil Wickremesinghe stresses that he will never deprive the right of expression, and he said he is the one who abolished the law of defamation against the journalists.
The President pointed out that the proposed Electronic Broadcast Regulatory Commission Act will only provide opportunities for having relief to any party that has affected by a news carried out by an electronic media. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the ceremony was held in Homagama. Minister Bandula Gunawardena is also present and said that he worried about sitting next to Minister Bandula as he thought media will express opposition with regard to suppression of media. He said that he has connections with media than anyone else and hence he or the minister does not need to tear them down. He said that the problem here is different. The President added that every country has a system to regulate electronic media. He said that numerous media institutions have accused government officials without proper evidence. The President mentioned that he himself is also a victim of such media actions. The President also mentioned about the recent media attention on the issue of Kurundi Temple in the northern province. He said that various accusations are levelled against him by media regarding that issue. The President further said that he has taken measures to provide relevant information requested by Venerable Allavala Medananda Thera and informed that no one will be settled in the lands owned by the government.
සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මටත් ඔය ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙනවා. උන්දු විහාරය ගැන එක එක ඒවා දානවා මම දෙමළ මිනිස්සු පදිංචි කරවන්න යනවා කියලා. ඉතින් එල්ලාවල ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේට මම කිව්වා දැනුම් දෙන්න කියලා. මේ රජයේ ඉඩම් වල අපි දෙමළ මිනිස්සුවත් සිංහල මිනිස්සුවත් මුස්ලිම් මිනිස්සුවත් පදිංචි කරවන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. අනිත් පැත්තෙන් කෑ ගහන මේ තිරයාය කඩලා එතන ගොඩනැගිල්ලක් හදන්න යනවා කියලා. එහෙම මොකුත් නැහැ. ඉඩම් ගැනත් මේ ගැන ටික හොයලා බැලුවා නම් 2018 පාර්ලිමේන්තු කොමිටියකින් මේ ගැන තීරණ දීලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඔය ටික හොයාගත්තා නම් මේ දුර මේක යන්නේ නැහැ. ජාතිවාදය වගේ කොහොමත් මම දැන් කොමිටියක් පත් කරන්න කිව්වා ඒ ඉඩම් ගැන හොයලා වාර්තා කරන්න. ඉතින් මම අහන්නේ ඉතින් මට ඔක හොයාගන්න බැරි නා මට මේකට විසඳුමක් හොයන්න බැරි නම් කොහොමද සාමාන්‍ය පුද්ගලෙක් හොයන්නේ? මෙතන ඉන්න කාට හරි වැරද්දක් කිව්වොත් මොකද තියෙන සහනේ? ඒ සහනේ ලබා දෙන්න විතරයි බලන්නේ. ඉතින් විශේෂයෙන්ම තාම මේ කෙටුම්පත් එකක්වත් අවසන් කළා නැහැ. දැන්
The President made these remarks at a ceremony held in Homagama today to inaugurate the issuing passports online. The ceremony was held at the Homagama Divisional Secretariat under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The Department of Immigration and Immigration has introduced this new system to issue passports to people without unnecessary delays. Facilities to apply online have been set up in sub-offices of the Department of Registration of Persons attached to 51 divisional secretariats island-wide. Interested persons are also able to obtain the passport directly from the Immigration and Immigration Department. The one-day service is also available as usual. Under the new online system, a person who applies for a passport can get it delivered to the household through a courier service within 3 days. President Ranil Wickremesinghe officially handed over the first passport issued online. Ministers Tiran Alas, Bandula Gunawardena and several others were present at this occasion.
ඒකට අපි මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශයත් එක්ක කතා කරගෙන එක් දින සේවාවට රුපියල් 20000ක් අය කරුවේ. දැන් අද ඉඳලා මේ දවස් 3 සේවාවට රුපියල් 15000යි අපි අය කරන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ විදිහටත් අපි මහ ජනතාවට
President Ranil Wickremesinghe says human resource is the primary catalyst for propelling the country towards progress. Therefore, the President stressed the importance of establishing a robust education system and cultivating a skilled workforce to accomplish the objectives of becoming a developed country by 2048. The President made these remarks during the first discussion of the expert committee appointed to support the Ministerial Committee for the National Education Policy Framework held yesterday. The President acknowledged the significance of aligning the country's human resources, enhancing the education system and transforming the nation into a regional hub. To facilitate this, the Education Ministerial Committee was formed, chaired by President Ranil Wickremesinghe and comprised of 10 members. Additionally, a subcommittee was appointed to support the reforms in 5 key areas, including early childhood education, primary and secondary education, higher education, vocational training and information technology. The Special Experts Committee is entrusted to submit the final report to the President within the scheduled period of time. President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized the interdependence of education and economic growth. He outlined the aim to overcome short-term debt and achieve a sustained economic growth rate of 8% to 9% within 3 years, maintained for at least a decade. Sri Lanka's GDP should be increased from $100 billion to $200 billion. The economy should be restructured to suit that target. Therefore, the convergence of education, economic framework and climate change was identified as crucial. Only through competitiveness can the country progress towards a highly competitive economy.
ඊළඟට දේශගුණ විපර්යාස සාමුවයි තුනම එකට එකතු වෙනවා. අපි තරඟකාරී වුණත් විතරයි ඉදිරියට යන්නේ. What is education technology? Brick and mortar universities and technical colleges, or are we going beyond that into AI? That's the next one. Whether it's postgraduate or whether it's universities or schools, you must have good teachers. How do you equip them for that? Those are the key ones without which we can't go ahead with education system. Now we have 13 years of education. Can we keep all students in the schools for 13 years? It's cheaper than putting them out onto the road. International schools or private schools are the same. There's no difference. So you must have but then all of them must be registered. All schools, government and private, must have the same standards. So we have to set up an inspectorate. Without an inspectorate, you can't have a school system. All exams must be held on a given date. You can't have more than 6 months waiting for results. Within that, next year you must go to the university or resit for the exam. That's good, reducing the popular unskilled labor to 10%. You do that, Sri Lanka is through. If you have a skilled and a good labor force, you haven't got to worry about anything else. Second is also region knowledge and human resource hub. We'll also have to bring a law on classroom size, 40 and then maybe reduced to 30. England is 25 now, so we must work at least on to 30 within a short time. We will have a labor shortage. There will be surplus labor in the rest of South Asia other than us, but there will be labor shortages in some of the ASEAN countries, plus in others completely in East Asia. So the idea is that we go on full automation within 10 years time, so that we will have automated, highly skilled, even automated labor force working up to 70, even 65 or 70, which will offset the fact that India has excess of labor. For the simple reason, China and all, which is a manufacturing hub, will automate. So if they all automate, the cheapest salaries will be in Sri Lanka. So let's move it quickly that we become the automated manufacturing center in the region, plus of course our move towards high value agriculture.
In the meantime, the examination department states that the Grade 5 scholarship examination will be held on the 15th of October. Applications are being called today to the 6th of July. Application should be directed online. The relevant list of guidelines can be obtained through the website onlineexams.gov.lk. It is also mentioned that the guidelines on how to apply for the children with special needs will be held there. Commissioner General of Examinations Amit Jayasundara says that closing date will not be extended at any circumstances. The Grade 5 students of the government and government-approved schools are only eligible to apply for this exam.
2 fundamental rights petitions filed against the restructuring of state-owned shares of the Sri Lanka Telecom was dismissed without hearing by the Supreme Court today. The case was summoned before a 3-member panel of Supreme Court judges. 2 trade unions have filed 2 fundamental rights petitions against privatization of Sri Lanka Telecom. When the petitions were summoning today, Deputy Solicitor General Rajiva Gunatilaka informed the courts that the Cabinet has given its approval to this privatisation process last March. In addition, he pointed out that this matter has been approved by the budget speech made by the Finance Minister in Parliament. The petitioners have pointed out that privatisation of Sri Lanka Telecom will cause threats to national security. The Deputy Solicitor General stated that there is no acceptable basis for the allegation levelled against by the trade unions. He also pointed out that if an interim order was issued in favour of the petitioners, foreign investors would select other countries instead of coming to Sri Lanka. The Deputy Solicitor General further pointed out that benefits of privatisation move of Sri Lanka Telecom are not only for the entity but also entitled to the shareholders and subscribers as well. He said that this is a win-win situation for all relevant parties. The Supreme Court, considering all these facts, dismissed the petitions without hearing. The highest stock of illegally imported cigarettes was destroyed today.
Sri Lanka Customs says the value of the stock is over 15 billion rupees. 200 million cigarettes were destroyed today at Muthurajavela garbage incineration yard before the State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya and senior custom officials. This stock was released from the customs. The government would have experienced a loss of 13 billion rupees. This stock of 200 million sticks of cigarettes had been confiscated by the Sri Lanka Customs as they had been illegally exported to the country in 2021. The custom had imposed fines to the importers under custom ordinance.
Farmers complain that they have not yet received urea fertilizer, although their paddy cultivation completes 2 months at present. They said that at a press briefing held in Polonnaruwa area today by the Farmers' Struggle Movement. Several farmers' unions held press conferences today and yesterday to enhance the public awareness on the issue of delaying fertilizer supplies. They complained that farmers did not receive fertilizer vouchers on time. They say there is a massive delay and lagging in the process of issuing fertilizer vouchers to farmers. At the same time, farmers' unions accuse that they cannot obtain fertilizers without completing the voucher process initiated by the government officials. They say the time is running for cultivations to use urea fertilizer. Therefore, they said it would be useless issuing fertilizer vouchers after passing the suitable period. Minister Mahinda Amaravira says that this is due to the negligence of some officials. The minister said that he has focused his attention on this issue and instructed the officials to take necessary actions to control the damage. He further said that disciplinary actions have been initiated against several agricultural officials for their negligence. Meanwhile, the minister added that a 50-kilogram pack of urea can be purchased at a reduced price of 9,000 rupees from today. Earlier, a 50-kilogram pack of urea fertilizer was sold at 10,000 rupees. China is supporting Sri Lanka by providing technical expertise to purify the contaminated groundwater in the area affected by the chronic kidney disease in the north-central farming areas in the country.
Professor Yang Min of the Chinese Science Academy, in an exclusive interview with Rupavahini, provided more details related to the project.
You mentioned about the various partners and the way you conducted this project. So, can you elaborate more on this project?
Actually, this technology, they use the electricity to separate the ions from water. And so normally it's a conventional technology, but the challenge is how to remove calcium and the fluoride simultaneously, because fluoride is quite difficult to be removed. So we mainly work hard to try to improve the fluoride removal efficiency. And then we succeeded. And then we constructed the equipment to be installed in a village in Annapurna, and with a capacity of 300 cubic meters per day, and which was used to supply water for a village of 1,500 people. And this technology was proved to be efficient and could generate high quality water with a very low affordable cost. So now the ministry is paying they appreciate this technology very much. So they are talking with us, and we might produce this kind of equipment in Sri Lanka, and then we might apply this technology to some related regions to provide the safe water.
As you said, you have helped Sri Lanka to establish a special research center at the University of Peradeniya. So can you provide more details regarding this thing?
To construct the center in Sri Lanka is the first phase, is the first step. Now we are entering the second phase, that is how to maximize the use of GRDC. And so during this visit, we have had a very good discussion with the Ministry of Water Supply, the Water Board, the University of Peradeniya, and even the Bureau of Industry. Many different people try to have an idea how to maximize the use of the GRDC. And so we are trying to suggest to these institutions, they are thinking about to provide a proposal to Chinese government for the second phase Chinese government aid project. The main purpose is to make the GRDC to be a good platform to help the country to cope with the drinking water challenges, particularly under the climate change the background. So we are talking to Water Board and the Ministry. We should cooperate with the University of Peradeniya and to work closely on the issues of concern in water supply, in Water Board, in water supply in rural area, and to provide solutions for these challenges and problems. That's one of the main targets. At the same time, we are talking with the university. We might think about to create some graduate education program and the novel graduate education program by integrating the researches or studies of different disciplines, and to have a holistic education program which can help Sri Lanka to cope with the future challenges under the background of the climate change and different.
More local news after a short break.
Kutumi, Fantamai.
On to more local news. An awareness program regarding the 3-year plan for implementing STEM education system within Sri Lankan school network was held today at the Ministry of Education.
This new system will provide opportunities for children to practically understand subject theories and basics through simple activities. Subjects of science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics are merged together in this new system of education titled STEAM. The students will be able to study with joy and content as a team in a smart school environment. A large number of education officers and many others were present at this 3-year plan awareness program. Minister Susil Premajan said that under the new system of education, students will be able to practically study science, commerce, technical and arts mediums together in a more relaxed manner. He said that the educators should be ready to understand the new trends of education among school students.
The one-day program organized by the Sri Lanka Export Development Board to strengthen the relations with the entrepreneur community was held successfully today with the participation of over 1,000 participants. This has been titled as EDB Open Day, which was held for the first time.
The aim of this program is to encourage export-oriented entrepreneurs, identify innovative ideas and to direct the entrepreneurs for export. The program was held at the headquarters of the EDB, and small and medium-scale entrepreneurs, new export-oriented entrepreneurs and innovative thinkers were present at this workshop. The participants were enlightened on export procedures, improving agricultural and industrial products, identify market opportunities and export relations and special needs of the participants. They were also provided with guidance of international standards.
The Colombo Stamp Exhibition and Stamp Sale Centre was opened at the Postal Department headquarters this morning under the patronage of Minister Bandula Guruvardhana. The exhibition will be open for the public from today to the 18th of this month from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. People are able to view and buy all the stamps issued by Sri Lanka during the history of the Postal Department. In addition, 4 stamps depicting photographs of Sigiri heritage and 20 stamps depicting indigenous vegetables and fruits in Sri Lanka were issued at the inauguration ceremony. State Minister of Mass Media Shantha Bandara and officials of the Postal Department were present at this occasion.
People in the Dimbulana village in Valikanda area have faced immense difficulties due to the threat of wild elephants. Several houses were severely damaged by an elephant attack that intruded the village from the Somavathia Forest Reserve. About 400 families live in the Dimbulana village at present. Their major livelihood is agriculture. They have cultivated about 800 acres in this village. The villagers say that, however, they have to strive a lot to protect their cultivations from wild elephants. An electric fence had been constructed several years ago and it is now in a dilapidated condition. A 4-year-old elephant calf in the Chunnakadu Forest Reserve in the Kantale, Vanal area has died by attempting to eat an explosive device set as a trap. A certain group had cleared the jungle and started various projects in the reserved area. Our correspondent says some elements are setting such explosive traps to kill wild elephants. Well, that's it on Local Stories. We'll be back with news overseas. Do stay tuned in.
Kutumi, Fantamai.
Now, foreign news. At least 78 people have died and more than 100 have been rescued after a fishing boat sunk off the southern Greece.
Survivors have suggested that as many as 750 people may have been packed onto the boat, with reports of 100 children in the hold. Greece says it is one of its biggest ever migrant tragedies and has declared 3 days of mourning. Authorities say their offers of aid were refused, but they are facing claims of not doing enough to help. The Coast Guard said later that no one on board was wearing life jackets. Shortly afterwards, the boat capsized and sank completely, taking only 10 to 15 minutes. A search and rescue operation was triggered but complicated by strong winds.
Ukrainian officials say that extremely fierce battles are raging on the parts of Ukraine as Kiev forces continue their counter-offensive. It was reported that Ukrainian forces had managed to advance near the Bakhmut of the east and Zaporizhzhia in the south, but Russian forces were reported to have mounting a stiff defense in some areas. These comments were made after another night of Russian missile and drone strikes on cities across Ukraine. Russia has stepped up its bombing campaign in recent weeks, despite Russian President Vladimir Putin admitting that his forces are suffering from a shortage of missiles and drones.
More than 170,000 people in India and Pakistan have been evacuated from the path of a fierce cyclone before its expected landfall today. Forecasters have warned that cyclone Biparjoy could destroy homes and crops in its path. Biparjoy is expected to first hit India's Gujarat state today evening in local time. The state's coast has reported heavy rains, high tides and rough seas.
Governor of Bali has announced an immediate ban on tourist activities in the mountains of the island, aiming to preserve the sanctity of its sacred peaks. The decision comes in response to an increase of violations committed by misbehaving tourists, which has raised concerns about the degradation of Bali's revered natural sites. The ban is in effect forever and is not only for foreign tourists, but also for domestic tourists and local residents. He did not elaborate potential punishment for those who violate the new rules, but it had been reported that groups of foreigners have been deported and banned from returning to Indonesia for the past 6 months by authorities.
An American tourist had the once-in-lifetime encounter of fighting a kangaroo while on holiday in Western Australia's Konukola Park. Courtney Cartner told that she had been screaming for help for several minutes before a man and his son stepped in. The situation de-escalated after a staff member arrived to take the animal away. While a fatal kangaroo attack took place near Perth last September, it was the first in Australia since 1936. Death by kangaroo is reported to be extremely rare.
Prima Kotumi Fantamai.
Now to sports news, we are looking at the cricketing world. Recently, on yesterday, the cricket tournament of the 2023, the Lankan Premier League tournament, had its player auction. The fast bowler Dilshan Madhushankar was auctioned at the maximum price at the auction.
This was the first players' auction of Lanka Premier League tournament. The team Jaffna Kings had purchased Dilshan Madhushankar for $92,000. It is approximately 29 million in Sri Lankan rupees. Charit Asalanka was also bought by Jaffna Kings for $80,000, approximately 25 million rupees. Dhananjay Silva and Vinura Fernando were bought by $76,000 each by Damula Aura team. Dinesh Chandimal was bought by B Love Candy team for $72,000. Dushmada Shamira was also bought by the Candy team for $70,000.
Dambula Aura, congratulations.
Asian Cricket Council has decided to hold the Asian Cricket Tournament this year under co-host of Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Accordingly, the tournament will be held from the 31st of August to the 17th of September. The first unofficial Test cricket match against South Africa A team was won by Sri Lanka A team by 160 runs. The match was played at Pallekele grounds. Sri Lanka A team scored 325 runs for first innings and 151 for the second innings. The official jersey of the Dharmaraja College Kandy for All Island Inter-School Rugby Tournament this year was launched recently. Sports items were also distributed among the rugby players. Dharmaraja College Principal Kamal Ari Singha and several others were present at this occasion.
Prima Kotumi Fantamai.
That's it for tonight's English News Telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.